Hi guys, I'm just going to give you some help today. We're going to build something called PaintPot with our awesome app inventor. PaintPot, you guys might recognize the name or be able to guess what it does. PaintPot is a device or program that you can use to paint stuff. And you know what one of these is like because we already have one that comes with all of our computers, and it looks like this. This is of course MS Paint. We're going to build a slightly simpler version of this program, but it's going to be able to do all the normal things, like create these awesome swirlies, okay, in different colors. What we're going to need to do that is, of course, our handy dandy app inventor. So the first thing we need to do is go to the appinventor.mit.edu/explore right up here. And don't worry if you don't remember it by heart, because I am going to give you some handouts today that are going to help you. Okay, the next thing we need to do is click Create to get started. Welcome to App Inventor. Click Continue. You guys can see I've already actually started building the app with my own funny face on it, because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing before I tried to teach you guys. Always, always a good idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to Projects. We're going to click Start New Project. And we always want to start a new project when we're building a new app, because that way we won't get confused about which is which. And in order to help us not get confused, we got to pick a really clear name. Since the app is called PaintPot, I'm just going to call it PaintPot and say OK. Whoops, and this is reminding me that I was just practicing PaintPot, so I'm going to call mine PaintPot 2. Alrighty. So now we have a blank viewer. This is our display window. It looks like a phone. And this is where we do all of our work. Over here we have the palette. The palette lets us choose different things that we want to do with our program. And the most important thing that we're probably going to do lately is buttons, because everybody likes buttons on their programs. It works just like this. When you see something that you want to have in your program, you click it and you drag it. Other important stuff for the App Inventor is Components, which is right here. And then we also have Properties, which is right here. Two more things are Designer and Blocks. The main thing to remember about Designer is that when you're designing something, it means you're changing how it looks. When you're choosing blocks, it means you're changing how it acts. Okay, so Designer is how it looks. Blocks is what happens when you click or press or touch things. Okay. How do we get started? The first thing we're going to need are 3 buttons. I have one here, so I'm going to click and drag another one. Button 1, button 2, button 3. I want to go ahead and make button 1 our red button. So I'm going to come over here to background color and choose red. I'm also going to choose text for button 1. I'm going to call it red. Haha, very straightforward. And for another reason, which doesn't matter to the customers who are going to play with your apps, but it matters to you as a designer, we need to change our button. We need to name it something more easy to remember than button 1. So what I want you guys to do is choose rename here, rename it to button red, and click OK. You can see up here in the components menu that button 1 has now become button red. Okay, we're going to do the same thing for button 2 and button 3, except they're not going to be all red, because that would be a really boring PaintPot, wouldn't it? They're going to be blue and green. So first thing we do is click on button 2 to make sure we're working with the right element. We're going to change the background color to blue, and it doesn't matter to me if you choose true blue or cyan here. Go nuts, choose what you like. Okay, we're also going to change the text, so instead of being boring old button 2, it's going to say blue. And the third thing we need to do to our button is rename it. And this will become important later. We're going to call it button blue. I'm not going to tell you why, but you'll see in a minute and you will be amazed at how convenient it is. Say OK. And button 3 is going to be green. So we come over here to properties, then we choose background color. We choose green. We want to rename it something a little less boring than button 3. So we're going to go with green. Okay? And of course over here in the components menu, which is just for us cool designers, we're going to click on button 3, click on rename, and we're going to rename it, you guessed it, button green. Click OK. Now you've got 3 fantastic buttons on your screen ready to go. What we want to do though is save a little bit of space and make it easier to see all 3 buttons at once, so we want to pick a different layout. We want to go ahead and have them horizontally across the screen instead of vertically up and down. So what we're going to do is over here in the palette area of your screen, you're going to click on layout, and you're going to see this that says horizontal arrangement. Horizontal arrangement, you click and you drag, there it is, and you actually add your buttons to this crazy square. And you can see the square filling up. Now it looks like a row of buttons, red and then blue and then green, which is fantastic. Now, I can't rightly remember what I'm doing, so what I'm going to do is pull up my directions. I made these for you guys today, and I'm going to pass them out, paper copies, tomorrow during class. So I want you guys to keep this in front of you so that you can go ahead and use it when you lose your place like I just did. Okay, right now you can see right there we've already done this. So the next thing we need to do, oh that's right, how could I forget? We need a canvas to draw on. Okay, and I'm telling myself and all of you right here, click on Drawing and Animation under Palette on the left side of the screen. Okay, let's see, Palette, Drawing and Animation, there it is right there. We're going to choose a canvas for ourselves and we're going to drag it to our screen. Wow, you can see that it starts off really tiny. This does not look like it would be any fun to draw on at all. So, what we're going to do instead is we're going to find a background image that people can draw on. There isn't any one available for us, so what we can do in another tab, I want you to go to the top of your screen and click on a tab. We don't want to close the App Inventor because we're still working on our app, but we need to find a picture that we like. So let's see, something that I like. I like nerdy stuff. I like movies. Let's see, how about Captain America? He's a pretty cool guy. Let's see. So you're going to Google, you're going to choose images after you type in whatever it is. Obviously you guys don't have to use Captain America, but I'm going to go for it. This looks like a pretty nice picture. I like this one. Maybe I'd like to draw all over this one. So, once you have a picture that you like, you right-click it, and you can see right here it says Save Image As. And I'm going to save this, I'm going to call it Captain America because that's easier to remember than the bunch of numbers that was there. Up here you can see where I'm saving it, which is the desktop. It's very easy to find things once you've saved them on the desktop. So one more time, the file name is Captain America, that's easy to remember, and it's on the desktop. Once I know where it is and where I can find it, I'm going to choose Save. Okay? And Google Chrome is really great about showing you things. It shows you right down here that Captain America is downloaded to my computer already. So we're going to click back on the tab for the App Inventor. We're going to go back to this background image area in the Properties menu. We're going to choose Upload File. Click on Choose File, and once again it was called Captain America and it's on the desktop. So there's my file. Click Open and the name will appear here. Okay, choose OK. And up at the top it says it's uploading the picture to the server. Oh, you can see this picture is huge. There's just Mr. America's arm right there. So we're going to change the height of it. The width is going to be fill parent because what we're trying to do is make sure that it's only this wide and it'll be just wide enough to fill the screen and it won't look really silly like mine does right now. So you say, okay, alright. So there's Captain America. He looks a little bit squished, but that's okay. And we're going to change the height of the canvas to 300 pixels. 300 pixels is a good size to start with. So you say, okay, and there he is. Captain America looks like himself again. And that's all because we changed the parameters, we changed the size of the photo so it would fit in our screen without looking silly. Okay, so where are we so far? What's our progress? We have 3 buttons, red, blue, and green at the top of the screen in a horizontal row, and we've chosen an image that's going to be our canvas. This right here is what we're going to be drawing on. If this was on a phone, it would be something we could draw on with our finger. That would be super cool. But since we're using an emulator and we're using computers to do this, you guys will be drawing with your mouse pointer. Okay, so we have a canvas, we have some buttons. I can't remember where we're at, so let me go ahead and check it again. We've already fixed the canvas, and I've said it should look like the picture. Oh, that's right, we need a wipe button so we can use our app over and over. What wipe does is, it clears the screen of all the junk you've been drawing. So if you want to draw on it and scribble all around, great. Then you can wipe it clean and start over again. Okay, so step number 1, drag a button from the palette on the left side of the screen to the display window in front of you. Okay, so here we go again. It's just another ordinary button. So we need to choose User Interface, drag a button. We're going to drag it down underneath your canvas. And we don't really want it to say text for button 1, so we're going to go down to the Properties menu to Text. We're going to call it Wipe. And once again, because the designers need to make sure that they don't get confused when they're assigning values and actions to things, we're going to click on button 1, choose Rename, and we're going to say Button Wipe. Okay, that tells us really quickly what it is and what it's meant to do, so that when we start assigning actions to things, we don't assign the wrong action to the wrong button. Because otherwise we'll end up with something really crazy, like clicking the red color button and making it wipe the screen. That's not what we want at all. Click OK. Now we've got a screen which is full of junk, which is really cool looking. We got a red, we got blue, we got green, we got Captain America, we have a white button there for when you get tired of drawing on his face. We're in good shape. Alrighty, I think we're ready for blocks. Let me check my instructions. Oh my goodness. We added our background image. This is another example you guys can see I worked on earlier. Alright, so our app looks great. Now we have to make it act great. We have to assign actions to each button and tell them what to do. When we touch them, when we drag things, when we click things, whatever. It doesn't matter what we want it to do, we have to make sure we tell our program what we want it to do. Okay, so we're done with making it look good. Captain America looks fancy as can be in there. So we need to tell it how to act good. We need to click on Blocks in the far corner on the green bar here, and you get a screen like this. This is the guts of your app. It's the insides. The people who are going to buy your app and give you $1 million someday, they're never going to see this part. But this is the most important part, because when you assign actions to buttons and things, you're telling the program how to work. If you do it wrong, then your program is going to work wrong, or sometimes not at all. Okay. Boy, I got such a good routine going, I keep forgetting what I'm doing. Let me go back to my directions. Click Blocks. Okay. Here is the bit, here is the reason why we renamed all of our buttons to be very clear as to what they were. Because now we can't see the display window anymore, so we can't see everything easily, but we need to know which button is which. So, for button red, what we need to do, we need to establish that when button red is clicked, something is going to happen. So choose that block. We're actually going to have quite a few action blocks for our app today, so I'm going to put that at the top to make sure there's more space. Okay, so when the button is clicked, what happens? Something's going to happen on the canvas. So we need to click Canvas, and I forgot. Okay, when we click the button, we want to make sure the drawing canvas color is set